I've been a member of the church since '53. I was an attender for about 6 months before that. I was married here by a man named Dr. Herman Lutzow, who kidded me a little bit about being a Presbyterian and getting married in a Methodist church. My wife's father built this building. He was an immigrant from Sweden in 1910 and was 18 years old, and 20 years later he built this building in 1925 and 26. Well, the architect and the artist worked together, I believe, in planning the sanctuary that we are in. And they started on the north side in the front with the window. They wanted to tell the life of Jesus. And so they started with his birth, where he's a baby over in the first window. Then he's a young man in the second window. And it goes on around in the center panels. It comes down the other side. And here he is before Pilate, and here he is with Mary Magdalene after the resurrection. And so we got 8 windows telling a story, and the story climax comes with the Ascension window in the front after the 8 windows lead up to the climax. Architectural style is called English Perpendicular Gothic, and it has panels that are short at the bottom, short panels, and then longer panels above, and that gives you a sense of upward thrust. And then in the portrait, you will see Jesus with his right hand up, also up in the air, gives you an upward thrust. The evergreen trees on both sides of Jesus have sharp points pointing upward, and they are lighted. They're pretty dark, but they are lighted, and that gives you this feeling of an upward thrust. And that's what Ascension means. It's an event, but it's also a concept. It's both an event and a concept. The first impression that everyone gets, I believe, when they walk in the back door of the sanctuary is you're hit right in the middle of the face, between your eyes, with this huge window, which occupies the entire front wall of the church and between the organ pipes. And that is a feeling that an author, a professor of art, about the similar window up in Michigan that I went to law school with, she calls it breathtaking. And I would call it the wow effect. It's kind of, wow, look at that, wow. So it hits you. Then as you get closer to it and you sit down and you begin, or maybe you stand up and you begin to look at it a little bit, the first impression you have is Jesus, obviously. Jesus is in the center of what I call the portrait, the sort of circular middle of the window. And Jesus is outlined with lighter colors as if he were in the spotlight. Definitely Jesus is in the spotlight. He's the center of the window. However, in the foreground are 11 apostles or disciples. Jesus and the apostles are both in the window together. I have looked at 100 or more pictures on the internet of Ascension windows all over the world. Most of them, Jesus is by himself. A few of them have a few disciples, but not all 11, and not in bold red and yellow and purple and gold robes. They are perhaps the most important part of the window. The apostle, this is their window. And what is Jesus doing? Comes right out of the gospel accounts. He is blessing them. If you read the account of the window in the gospel, he led them out. He led them. What did they do? They followed him. They had been following him for 3 years. They'd followed him down to Jerusalem. They're still following him. So it's a story of Jesus and his disciples, not just about Jesus. This window is not something, it's been here for almost 100 years, but it speaks to us today. It's not a historical relic. It speaks to us today. And when Jesus is pictured blessing the apostles, and when I sit in a pew and look up, I feel that Jesus is blessing me. I really feel that. I think that there's a lot of discussion about the Ascension. A part of this gospel story is that Jesus told the apostles, I will come again. But we've been waiting 2,000 years, he hadn't come yet. What does that mean? For me, he comes every Sunday that I come here. He comes and he blesses. That's why I'm here, to tell you this.